Please welcome Guillaume Canet.
Hello.
I think it's interesting that you're in both of these films. You're playing. They're both true crime films, and you're playing.
Yeah, it's a good year for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Did you literally make them back to back?
Yeah, actually, I read and accepted the role of Cédric's movie. Next time I Aim for the Heart, before the André Téchiné's movie, and Cédric has wrote also the Téchiné's movie, and but that was a pure coincidence that I will play two criminal in the same year.
Yeah, and two very
nothing with my personal life involved.
Okay.
No.
That was going to be my next question.
No.
So, I would imagine two very different experiences too.
Yeah. The common point is that those two characters exist.
Yeah.
And for the Téchiné's movie, I had the chance to talk to him.
Yeah.
Before he got in jail, because he went in jail not a long time ago, actually. Because he spent some time in jail, and then he got out for a couple of years, and a couple of months after we shot the movie, he went back to jail.
Yeah.
And but I had the chance to talk to him on the phone several times, so I had the chance to talk to him about the script and the scenes, and to see how he was reacting from it, which was very interesting for me, and try to know a little bit more, not about the case, because of course I never asked him if he killed her or not, but even if I wanted, but that was very interesting for me. And for the Cédric Angers movie, there would be no way to talk to him because he's in a psychiatric institute, and that was very difficult to imagine that first the institute will accept that we talk to him and speak about all those things.
So this story happened in the late 70s when you were very young. Do you remember anything of it when you were a child?
Not when I was young, but I later on I heard about the case, and we have a really famous TV show in France called Faites entrer l'accusé, and it's a really interesting program where they do very, very interesting journalistic work on cases, like crime cases. And I heard, and I've seen one documentary on this case, like 2-3 years before Cédric talked to me about the project, and I was already very excited about the story, because the character, the main character, this guy is quite surprising, because he was really, really good cop, considered by all his friends and colleagues as a really good cop, very passionate. He really wanted to arrest the killer. He was keeping on telling that all night, when they were waiting sometimes in the car all night long, when they were blocking some roads and stuff. And so that's, I was very, very, I remember being really excited about this schizophrenic character. And then Cédric talked to me about it like a few years later.
What kind of interpretive work did you have to do as an actor? Did you have to bring to this part? I mean, I would imagine it's a really well-documented case psychologically, but then at a certain point...
Yes. What was interesting for me is, of course, I had the documentary, I had the book. There's a book from Ivan Stefanovic, who is a journalist, who at that time was following the cops during all the the chase, you know, like it's been like for a year and a half, and he spent sometimes with the cops in the car. So he was with Alain Lamar, the guy. So he was talking to him all the time, and the guy was giving him some details about how he thinks the criminal is and everything. So in the book we have I had a lot of information for me, very very interesting information, and then to work on the character, I lost some weight because I really wanted to be dry, you know, like to be thick and dry, and to try to have this look that cops can have, you know, cops or military can have sometimes, where you have I won't say nothing because it's not the case, but it's just like they have like a kind of emotional protection, you know. They have something that they don't want to show to anybody, so there is this barrier, you know, and so I did a work of observation on military people or cops, and watch a lot of documentary on the, and because the character really wanted to become part of, he wanted to be part of the commando, you know, like I don't know how you say that, commando, but it's like special forces, you know, and he's been refused all the time, and so it was something that was turning him mad.
Why was he refused?
Because he was not physically, he had a problem, a physical problem that won't allow him to be in the special forces. And he physically was not that strong, you know. He was someone very thin, very, very, very thick. You say thick? No.
Well,
thin.
Thick and thin.
Thin.
Yeah, thin.
It's not the same, yeah.
It's the opposite.
It's the opposite, actually. Yeah, so.
But it's.
If you want to rewind and
a kind of sense.
Just imagine I was saying thin.
And were you shooting in a lot of the actual locations? Take it. Yeah.
We shot some of them, yes, and some we shot in north of France, where it was easier for us because some part of certain little towns hasn't changed, and we're very close to how it looks in the 70s. And we didn't have that much money to make the film, and we did the film in 36 days, which is really, really short. So we had to try to not spend too much money on reconstitution, you know. So
yeah, and building sets and
exactly,
things
yeah,
like that. Yeah. I before we get into talking about the other film, the Téchiné film, I just want to ask you about, you've directed several films at this point too, and has that changed your, I mean, in other words, since you've been directing films, has that changed your sense of your approach to acting or your feelings about acting? It must be a very different kind of feeling.
Yeah, totally, because which is what is really curious is that when I always wanted to be a director before being an actor, and once I started to be able to direct my films and ask the actors to do some work, preparation and everything, I realized I was not doing that that work as an actor, and only once I started to direct, I started to work on my roles differently. And also when you work on several films with several directors, it's always very interesting because you see different ways of working, and even though you're not trying to reproduce everything you see, but you learn, you know, and you see what are the good things that works, the good things that you like, the things that you understand that you can really respect the actors, the way they're working, And for example, I learned something with Patrice Chéreau, which now I'm doing all the time on my films. Is, you know, most of the time when you say cut, there's a lot of noise on the set because everybody goes back to their place, you know, and everything to start again the next shot, and or next take. And with Patrice, when he was saying cut, there was a silence. Nobody would move. He would come, talk to you about the scene, everything he saw, what he thinks, blah blah blah, and then once he has finished, he goes back to his position, and then everybody moves, takes their first position. So you have the time to think about it, because most of the time when you say cut, like everybody's moving, it's like a big mess on the set, and the director comes and tries to talk to you in the mess, and you're not really focused. You see what I mean? And on the other hand, it's also very interesting for the technicians who are interested in it to listen to what the director is saying to the actor, because maybe they can also understand that they can help the process.
They can get in harmony with what the director wants from the actor. Yeah.
So in both ways, being an actor and direct movies helped me and learned me a lot, and on the other way around too.
That's interesting. André Téchiné is a very different kind of director, and there's a breathlessness in the pace of his films, and in this one, you know, is no exception. I remember once he told me that he attributed it to the fact that he has tachycardia. He has the rhythm of his heart is irregular. So that's where his unorthodox sense of cutting comes from. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but
yeah, totally. He's very anxious.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he's a very anxious person. Yeah.
But in a good way. But he's very anxious and asking himself many questions, even though he's a very, very talented director. But he's preoccupied by a lot of doubts, you know. But it's I think a lot of directors are like this.
Sure.
Yeah.
So this is a completely different kind of character, and if you could give the audience a little bit of background about the case of Agnès, because that's more recent.
So, so it's a story that took place in
over many years.
But around those years too, like in the 70s, late 70s. In Nice, in south of France, on the French Riviera, where you have a family, the Le Roux family, they were owners of a casino called the Palais de la Méditerranée, and they had a daughter, Agnès Le Roux, who was coming back from a trip from Africa, and once the father was dead, and the mother was taking care of the casino. And when she got back in France, she met a young lawyer called Jean-Maurice Agnolet, who was the lawyer who was working with Mrs. Le Roux. And
helping her manage the casino.
Yeah, managing the casino and everything. Yeah. And we understand that this guy is a little bit, how could I say that? Ambitious, and he really wants to become director of the casino, and they're gonna have a love story between Agnès and Jean-Maurice Agnolet. And one day, Agnès Le Roux, once Jean-Maurice Agnolet has been fired by the mom because there was another casino on the French Riviera where Le Roux, where there was another casino, and the mob was controlling this casino, and Agnès Le Roux and her mom didn't get on well, and one day Jean-Maurice Agnolet got fired by the mom because she understood that he convinced the daughter to sell her part of the casino to the rule, to the mob, and she disappeared.
The
Daughter disappeared. We never, even today, we never found her body. And this case is incredible because Jean-Maurice Agnelet has a lot of proofs against him. Evidence, thank you very much. And a lot of evidence against him. But he keep on claiming his innocence ever since. And that's a really, really interesting case and interesting story. And for me, that was a really, really exciting role to play because I spent, I don't know, but like a lot of nights talking on the phone while I was shooting with Jean-Maurice Agnelet. So I was shooting in the day, and at night I was in my hotel room talking to him for 4 hours, and telling me so many things.
That must have been kind of a hallucinatory experience.
Yeah. That was really weird because he was. Sometimes he was telling me weird things that was the contrary of what he was saying 3 days before.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I was telling him, but you didn't tell me that 3 days before. And he was like very talented.
Yeah. Yes.
Very, and he is a lawyer, and you know he knows how to talk, how to seduce, and how to. And that was, for me as an actor, that was very interesting, but a little confusing too, because sometimes I was getting on the set the day after and talking to André and say, André, we need to change that scene. You know what happens? You know, like, he told me that, and nobody was supposed to know that I was talking to him.
Yeah, I was just going to ask that.
So
how did André feel about
only
that?
André knew that.
Okay.
So I was talking to him like we were hiding, and I was saying, hey, he told me that. I swear he told me that and everything. And that was, sometimes I was feeling that I was in a movie.
Yeah, right.
Because I could tell you this anecdote. One night I was in the room and he was talking to me about Agnès and details and the last time he saw her and what they did, and getting into a lot of details that I'd never heard into the police, you know. And so I was getting nervous and excited. I say, do you mind if I call the reception to ask some cigarettes? And he goes like, no, sure, but you know, I would have loved to be with you, so I could have offered you some cigarettes. And I was like, yeah. We were not in the same part of France, you know. So and I was quite happy. So and I said, okay. But I'm joking around. But he was very nice. I mean, the way he was and so I asked for some cigarettes, and we talked all night. And 3 days later, I talked to him about a scene that I have to shoot the day after, where they are smoking pot on a terrace. And I said, you know, there's that scene where we're gonna smoke. And he said, I never smoked pot.
This is after he'd reviewed the script, right?
I was shooting the movie, and I said, you know, there's a scene where I smoke, because he never read the
he never read the script.
No.
Okay. Right.
And I said, and he said, no, I never either smoked pot or cigarettes. And I said, but the other day you told me that you could have offered me a cigarette. And he goes like, you're very smart, huh? and that was part of his, seduction, I would say, you know. But I mean, you never know. I mean, that's the weirdest thing ever, is that all the interviews that you can have from him, he's saying something and he's contrary at the same time, and you can never know what's going on. And today, I personally, I cannot say that this guy is the killer, because everything he gives, every excuses he gives, every are possible, you know. So it's really, really, really weird.
Well, you really get
and
that.
he did so many big mistakes, like going in Switzerland right after her disappearance, sorry, to get the money, and he was telling me
from her account that he had his name on.
Yeah, and he was telling me on the phone, but do you really think that I'm stupid enough to go right after this disappearance, get the money in the bank? I went to get the money because that was my money that she gave to me, and from at that point, I didn't know she disappeared. I didn't have any news from her, but that's it. And so I told him, yeah, but maybe you did it because you knew that if you do that, you could say that, you know. So that was those kind of discussion, but they were getting nowhere. All the time.
Yeah, and this case actually had a major development in the middle of shooting, no? In the middle of production?
Sorry?
Didn't the actual story, there was a big development in the actual case as the film was being made, am I correct?
A really big one.
Yeah.
Because
we don't want to tell.
Once the movie...
maybe we don't want to share the details of that with everybody.
Yeah. Once the movie has been shot, there were a trial, and son, Jean-Maurice Agnelet's son, went at the bar, you know, and said to the audience that when he was 12 years old, he heard his father talking to his mother about the body and where he left the body. So that was like suddenly, you know, like a storm into the, and few years later, a discussion between him and his brother with his father, saying he knows about it and everything, and Jean-Maurice Agnelet had say that if they don't find the body, they couldn't find the body, they would never find the body, and that if they don't find the body, he will never have any problems, you know. So that was like a big, and that's the reason why he's in jail right now. But the problem is that his mom and his father are saying that their son has a mental problem, and that they never talked about this, and they never had this discussion, and either the brother. So he's alone against his family. So once again, it's...
Dare I ask, do you still speak to him?
No.
Okay.
No. And
has he seen the film? Probably not.
No, because when the movie came out, he was in jail.
So they won't... Yeah.
And actually, I really want to talk to him now. Because I once it happened, I was quite shocked. And but I shared a lot of things with this guy, with this man, and no matter what, if he has killed her or not, I don't want to leave him alone now once he's in jail. I mean, if he has killed her, he's going to spend the rest of his life in jail, and I don't want to be in silence right now. Even, you know, I mean, it's I'm thinking about it since a couple of weeks, and I think I'm gonna go and see him in jail.
Any questions from? Yes. Wait for the mic.
I want to ask you two questions. The first one is, do either of these two films have a United States distributor?
So the André Téchiné's movie, the movie we just talked about, has a distribution. I'm really sorry if the distributor is here.
Cohen Media.
Comment?
Cohen Media.
Okay. And next time I aim
Why
for
are
the...
you sorry if the distributor's here?
But I'm sorry because I couldn't remember the name. Sorry,
okay.
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
And the next time I aim for the heart has no distribution yet, but I think they're gonna buy it. And
That means you, Cohen Media.
I mean, I'm trying to.
And then the other question I just had, what was it like for you to work with Catherine Deneuve?
That's a really good question because I was that was the first time in my life I was totally in panic, being on a set with an actor or an actresses, and I made, I don't know, like 45 films, and I worked with a lot of very famous actors or actresses, and even though I was very happy, excited to work with them, I was not petrified, you know. And when I knew I was working with Catherine, I was very happy and very excited, but I was not scared. And once I got on the set, the first day of shooting, when I arrived on the set with Catherine and I started to rehearse the scene with her, I started to sweat and to be totally in panic. And I was like, it's so stupid. I don't know. And I had a really long, that was the first day, and I had a really, really long scene with a lot of text. And I had so many blank, you know, and I couldn't find my words, and I was like feeling so stupid. I was keeping on apologizing, you know, to Catherine. I'm so sorry, but and I was talking to her, and I was seeing her in all her movies, you know, and I was like an audience, you know, like that was so stupid, and she laughed and said, "Don't worry, tomorrow it will be me." And the day after it was her, and she had a lot of scene, a lot of text, and she had a lot of blanks too. So I said, okay, that's cool.
But that also must have been interesting to be working with Catherine for the first time in a film directed by André Téchiné, because they've made, what, 6 or 7 films together?
Yeah, they know each other very, very well.
Yeah.
And it's like an old couple, you know. They have a little... they really don't need to speak to each other, you know. And most of the time, André was coming to talk to Catherine, and she was like, "Okay, I know." So,
yes. Wait for the mic.
I was just reading this week, I think, that you signed on for something that Netflix is going to produce here in the U.S. Can you tell us anything about that?
Yeah, it's called Jadotville. And it's a movie that takes place. I mean, we're going to shoot that in South Africa, but it's a story about in the 70s, no, late 60s, when I don't remember the name of the president in Africa at that time. I'm sorry, I'm jet lagged, and all the words like goes. Anyway, French government sent some mercenaries to protect the mines of over there, and so I'm gonna play the character of Folkes, who was one of the biggest French mercenary, and the ONU sent an Irish militaries militaries, yeah,
Yeah.
because they were the only country not involved into this miners, production, and to protect those mines. And there was a big war at that time, with a lot of political twist underneath. And the script and the movie is going to be really better than what I'm saying right now. I promise. I won't do the trailer. Imagine that's the trailer, on Netflix. Yeah, so it's a movie. Let's watch that. That's a comedy.
Who are you doing that with? Who's making it?
Oh my God.
Okay, that's okay. That's all right.
No, the name is really difficult to say. Is Irish, and his first name is Richie. So
Okay.
let's say it's Richie.
Yeah. So look for something directed by Richie. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Judy. I'm an actress and a filmmaker, a beginner director, but I'm coming from acting. And my question is, you're so talented in both directing and acting. And,
Thank you.
And I love your work and everything that you do.
Thank you.
And so you said you had wanted to be a director. You had started, wanting to be it. Do you prefer one or the other? Do you prefer directing over acting?
If I really had to make a choice, I would choose directing, because I love the writing process. I love the prep, and how I can share the story with the actors and the technicians, and I think I'm a leader. When I was a kid, I always wanted to decide what we're gonna play, with the other kid, And if it was another kid who was saying, "Oh, we're gonna play cowboys," I say, "Okay," And so I really wanted always to bring people with me and share something and do something. I love, as an actor, being into part of an adventure, of a process and everything. But I think I would choose to direct and play in my own films. Yeah.
Are you working on something that you're going to direct?
Yeah.
Coming up now?
Yeah. It took me a while, because my last movie was Blood Ties, an American a film that I shot in New York, and once I finished the film, it was so much work, and that was really really complicated movie to finance, to shoot, to promote. Everything was difficult on that film, and so I decided to make a little break, to have a little break for a couple of months, and I was dry, and I think it's the most important thing in that job, if I can say a job, because it's not like a job for me, but it's to feed yourself, and not becoming dry, because I think that's how you start doing shitty things, And I think it's very important to leave some other things in life, share some other things, so you don't become angry or frustrated, or So, and now I found a new subject that I really like, and I'm really excited about, and I'm writing right now, and I love this process, because only being on plane is like a gift for me. I love being on a plane or a train, because I know it feels like the time stop. You cannot do anything. I pray for that one day we're not being able to have the cell phone on the plane, even though we can right now, right? Yeah. But anyway, because you can work, and you can be totally focused on what you do, and I each time I have a little moment, I can write, and when you have a subject like the one I have right now, which is very exciting for me, you can write pretty fast.
Well, I'd love for you to be in my film, and I'd love to be in your film. So
Thank you very much.
I'm writing one right now, and there's a perfect role for you.
Let's keep in touch.
Okay. Yeah.
Hi, quick question. Is there one actor or director that you haven't yet worked with that you really would like to in one of your next projects?
Director and an actor, you said?
Either or both.
Yeah. An actor, yes. And I proposed him Blood Ties. And actually, that was the more sincere and quick answer I had. And I had a really special thing with this actor is Daniel Day-Lewis. And for the little anecdote, I will be very quick, but it can tell you how the passion I have for that man. I always been a huge fan of him, and I stayed after the beach. I stayed very close to Leo DiCaprio, and he invited me on set on Gangs of New York in Italy, and we were on set, and we were in a building where they have all these loges, you know, like. And I was walking in the corridor with him, and Daniel Day-Lewis was arriving, and he was going to train for his knives training. He had only one scene when he threw some knives in the movie, but he trained for 3 months. And he came, and Leo was like, "Hey, this is my homie Guillaume," and he goes like, "Hi." And he leaves. A year later, I'm in London during the screening of the film. There is a private dinner with Marty Scorsese, Leo, and I'm invited to the table, and Daniel Day-Lewis comes in. And at that time, I'm not famous. I mean, I'm not famous, not now, but I'm not, you know, he doesn't really know me. And he comes in the room, and he sees me and say, "Hey, Guillaume, how are you?" And I was shocked. I said, because not only the guy is the most talented actor for me, I think, but only a really good man. I mean, very open to people. And I think he's very, I would love to work with him. And when I proposed him the script, he explained me that he was shooting the Spielberg's movie. And while he's shooting a movie, he never read any script, so which was quite normal in a way. But so I would love to work with him one day. And as a director, I was talking about Scorsese, of course. I would love to work with him one day. Paul Thomas Anderson. I mean, there are so many. You. No, but you know, there are so many directors that we don't know. No, but I was going to say that for that too, because there are so many directors that we don't know who are so talented. I've been totally amazed by Whiplash this year, and I can imagine that maybe, you know, if this young director came to me 2 years ago in a festival and come and say, "I would love to work with you. This guy is not famous." You have to be really to pay attention to all the people who comes to you and say, "I would love to work with you," because one day you can regret not to take them, you know, seriously, yeah.
Any other questions? Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
I wanted to know, how involved are you with costumes as an actor, and how do you work with it as a director, and specifically in these 2 movies?
Are you a costume designer?
Yes, we can stay in touch.
That's very, very important for me. very important because the first day or 2 days of shooting, even though sometimes some director doesn't want you to look at the monitor, you know, at the video village, because they don't want you to be involved in this. And even though I can really understand that, but it's really something that I'm pushing for, that the 2 first day I can watch myself with the costume and the way I walk and the way I look with the costume, because for me that's really helping me seeing the character. And for those films, the on the 2 films, the silhouette was very, very important, and I really wanted on the Cédric Angers movie, for Next Time I Aim for the Heart, the trailer that you've seen, to have very strict and very serré, you know, tight closes, you know, and because I thought that it will bring something, you know, to the character, and even the boots that he has, you know, with the talons, you know, the heels. The sound of it, the sound of it helped me to get in the character. And one day we had a scene, we had a shot. It was very, very cold, and I had some hugs, you know. During the takes, I was putting some hugs to get warmer, and I had just a close-up, you know, and I was walking on the road with my bag like this, and there was just a close-up on me walking on the road like this, and I didn't feel good, and I had a problem. And Cédric, I don't know if Cédric is here, but Cédric, you're here, Cédric?
No, I think he's in the other room now. Yeah.
Oh, he's still doing Polaroids? He loves that now. And he told me, change your shoes. And I said, oh my God, thanks. And I realized, and it really helped me. So yeah, it's really important for me. And I think that's the reason why I don't like being naked on films.
Oh, that's the reason. Yeah. But what about, I also have the impression that
even though André didn't prefer me naked.
Well, the suits that you wear as Agnès, I had the impression were very important to you.
The what, sorry?
The suits that you wear when you played Agnès, les costumes.
Yes.
Were very, very important for your
yeah, because it's really the look from that period of time, and also like being very strict and not strict, but you know, Agnès was really a seducer. And so he was really paying attention to. Excuse me, it's not finished. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Do you want? Yeah.
And
we can wait. Take your time. Yeah.
And okay, anyway, I didn't know. No, that was a joke. If someone needs to go, you can go. Any other question? Yeah.
I was wondering about the writing. I'm not a dramatic writer, but I'm a writer. So what is in the background that you began writing too?
What is really interesting is that I hated school when I was a kid. I hated I had the idea that I mean, I was not understanding that being in school was good for me. I had the feeling that being in school was good for my parents because they were feeling happy, or, you know, because it was part of the thing in life, you have to go in school. And I never wrote or read that much ever since I quit school. And I discovered, actually, I'm an autodidact, as we say, you know, and I discovered literature, la littérature, you know, and the writers and writing, understanding that everybody can write, You can write badly or you can write well, but you can write and you can try at least. And I wrote all my films, and I tried to did it as good as I can, you know. And but with sincereness. Do you say that? Sincerity. Yeah. Sincerity. Thank you.
Sincerity. Okay.
And I love that process. I love that process, and I realized that actually I was writing since I was a kid, without knowing it. But I was keeping on making films in my mind all the time, and with the music. And that's what was very interesting, is that today I'm writing with music all the time. Music brings me the emotion, the rhythm, and when I'm writing with all my playlist, you know, on shuffle, and sometimes I can go from a scene to another because suddenly I hear music, and suddenly it's going to tell me a story. It's going to tell me a rhythm, an emotion, something. And I have a lot of friends who are musicians. What is curious is that for them, a lot of films inspire them some music. And for me, that's really the inverse. Sometimes I hear music, and that's really interesting. If you watch sometimes people in the street, you just put some music in your ears. You stop on the street and you just watch the people. And if you change the music, you'll see that you don't feel the same thing. And sometimes you can watch someone in the street and just imagine their story, and imagine who they are, who they're coming from, who they're going, where they're going right now. And with the music, it's really interesting how it changed totally the thing. So when I was a kid, I was listening to some music, and I remember listening to the album of Cock Robin. I don't know if you remember Cock Robin, but I love that. That was a English group, I think, and band. And I was all the time I was imagining a lot of things, like some stuff that was happening to me, or you know, and I loved that. And now I'm making films out of it.
It's something that Marty Scorsese's always said, that he doesn't, once he hears the music, then he sees the movie.
Yeah.
You know, when he's conceiving.
Yeah, that's really very inspiring. Yeah.
There was another question right there. Yeah.
Thank you. So yes, you are an actor and a director, and you were saying that because you are like a leader personality, you like being a director. I was wondering what are, according to you, the good skills to be a very good actor or a very good director. I believe that's not exactly the same skills. So it's not like more human skills. I'm not speaking about technical skills or things like
that. Put yourself in art. That's it. I think the most important thing is to sincerity. For both, because in both ways you are telling a story. And if right now you come on stage and you tell us a story with a lot of sincerity, either if it's funny or even if it's dramatic, if you do it with a lot of sincerity, we will be touched by what you will say. You know, you see what I mean? And I think that's you cannot, I mean, a lot of people are saying sometimes that actors are good liars. And I'm not okay with that. Yeah, I'm not okay with that. I think that when you have to do that with a lot of sincerity, or otherwise it doesn't, I think it doesn't work. So, I mean, for me, the most important skill is to be sincere. And that's the reason why sometimes it's good to know what you're good at. And so it helps you to find the good subject or the good project as an actor. After that, you can try to push yourself a little bit further and try some stuff that you don't know. but it's important to put yourself into what you're doing, because it's your experience. And as soon as you talk about something that you know, you'll be real and you'll be true. I don't know if that means something for you, but so I think that's the most of, you know, the most important skill that you need to be an actor. Or, you know, some actors doesn't want to direct, and they're not interested in it. That's it. I think it's just an interest, or not. You know, I think everybody can be a director if they want. You know, and it's not a special skill. Is just to. I think it's a wish. It's a passion, and it's you know, directing a movie is so painful sometimes, so long, so you go through so many months, years, asking yourself hundreds of questions all the time, and doubting, and being very exciting one day and very depressing another day. And so it's just if you are willing to accept that or not, which is what is very curious, is that I did 4 films, and each time I did a movie, like Tell No One, for example, when I finished Tell No One, that was such an enormous movie for me to make as a second film. When I finished it, nowadays, when I talk about it, when I think about it, I feel like I wouldn't be able to make a movie like this again. Even though maybe it's not true, but it's just now maybe I don't have the same passion that I had at that time, but for that project. But maybe one day, in 3 months, 4 months, I will be passionate and very excited about another project, much more difficult than Tell No One, and I would do anything I can to make the film, you know? So it's just what you are ready to do or not, you know?
Guillaume, we have to wrap it up, and I really want to thank you for coming. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you.